So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Kitchin, CEO of Cumulus Energy Storage, and we are enabling more renewable electricity to get to where it needs to get to at the right time. And so far, we've raised 4 million. We've also last week been offered a conditional loan offer from Innovate UK as part of the innovation loans for £1 million. We've also got patents granted in the UK, US and Australia, and basically we have got ourselves pretty close to commercialization, more about which I'll talk about later. The problem we're solving is to help renewable electricity get to where it needs to get to at the right time. You need the buffer in the middle because obviously renewable electricity is variable and intermittent. This is essentially what we're doing. Last year and a couple of years before that, National Grid have had increasing costs of the balancing market, and one of the symptoms that's obvious is the 108 million that they paid to the wind farm operators to not generate electricity. So in terms to try and solve this, we need a range of different energy storage solutions, so it's not just ourselves. But what we've managed to see some 4 or 5 years ago is most of the market right now is in the left-hand side of this graph, in the high-power short-duration market. We're in the high-energy long-duration market, which is in the 4 to 6 hour discharge time. Because we're an aqueous battery, we can also dip into the ancillary services market on the left-hand side of this graph as well. So we get the best of both worlds. The energy storage market, as a consequence of renewables increases, is clearly increasing very, very quickly. The number is almost irrelevant. The fact is the market is growing. For us, target markets include renewables, commercial level renewables behind the meter. It also includes electricity-intensive industries behind the meter from the demand point of view, particularly mining, and we've got a very close relationship with a firm in Australia at the moment regarding that. And then as far as the infrastructure is concerned, we've got everything from electric vehicle recharge infrastructure through to microgrids, particularly in Africa, 300 million people without electricity in India, for example. And then there's an Irish project, which again I'm going to talk to you about in a second, which is giving grid support, will be giving grid support to the Irish market. In terms of value propositions, we have a whole range of different value propositions. Don't worry about the detail on this. The point is that there are, almost irrespective of the location in the network, what we end up with is about a 6-year payback period. Okay, you're not going to get that from lithium ion. In terms of customer acquisition, we're essentially doing this through local project developers. We've currently got the Fisherstown project in Ireland. That's a 3-phase project, which when the 3rd phase is completed will be a 100 megawatt, 400 megawatt hour system. So we're talking about large scale systems here. For us, that's a potential $200 million project. In Australia, LAPRO party, from the mining point of view, clearly a large number of mines across Australia, particularly those that are a long way from the network, where there's a logic and economic justification for replacing the diesel genset market with solar PV plus our storage. Here's the Irish market in terms of this specific project at Fisherstown. It's a 330,000 square foot building. By the time we filled it up with the 3rd phase, it will be providing not only an energy park at the specific site, but also into the Irish market as well. Our vision is to have, it's a very simple vision, but basically it gives us a real engine for growth and for manufacturing capacity. We'll end up with a series of licensing deals with global OEM component manufacturers, licensing deals with continental forming and assembly plants, and licensing deals with local project developers in those 3 markets I've just mentioned before. Management team, very experienced. Darren and I basically both went to London Business School. That's how we know each other. So it's 2 professional engineers, both with MBAs. Mike is a master's level chemist, a very strong team. Mike and Darren are both based in San Francisco. I'm based here in the UK. Team works well. Just want to differentiate copper zinc from lithium ion. This spider diagram is a qualitative diagram showing hopefully that the top right dotted line is the lithium, offering high power short duration services, where the solid line offering high energy density long duration services. And we've got recyclability, which lithium ion doesn't have, and a number of other properties that are relevant.
1 minute, please.
Thank you. In terms of the battery itself, it's very simple. It's an aqueous battery. I can talk to you more about that afterwards, but basically it's a very low-cost system, and I think we take up, at a gigawatt hour, we'll take up about 0.02% of the total copper and zinc that's mined in the world. So sustainability, etc., is not an issue. The most important bit on this is the bit on the right-hand side, the copper zinc. This is a direct comparison of the chemistry costs using Lazard's latest levelized cost of storage, which was published in November 2017. So this cuts out all the fluff that's in the market and misinformation. This is accurate supplier information in the marketplace. We've got the lowest cost chemistry. So we're asking for 4.6, as I mentioned before. The reason for this is to be able to have a 1.7 megawatt hours a month pilot line so we can get product out there to early adopters and demonstrate to the world we can do what we say we can do. And then the next step after that is for us to ramp up to full production. That's pretty much all I want to say. But that's the use of funds. Contact details are there. Thanks so much indeed. Speak later, hopefully.